remedy for cleaning up that site. National Grid needs to do some engineering evaluations. The law requires us to look at certain factors in selecting remedies for sites, and that process has not been completed yet. We are simply at the end of the investigation stage. Okay? But looking forward to the remedy, because I know you guys are all concerned about what is going to be done with the site. There's basically three approaches. One is to leave it in place and manage the contamination in place. And we have successfully done that at dozens of sites statewide and in the city. The second is to go in and excavate it, and that can be done safely. We do this within structures, within a tent, where all of the air within it is treated before it's discharged. And then the third is to actually treat it in place. And we can mix it with cement to solidify it so that it's no longer mobile, so that it doesn't vaporize into structures. And we can do a combination of those things. Some of it is so deep that we can't feasibly excavate it. And in those cases, we either leave it in place and manage it, or we solidify it with this cement mixture so that it doesn't spread and it doesn't vaporize. So those are the basic approaches, and the site-specific conditions affect which approach or which combination of approaches we use to clean them up. But the important thing is that DEC is not requiring the strip mall to be torn down to excavate the contamination beneath it. If there's one thing to take away, we are not requiring that. Okay? On the other hand, if a decision is made by others, the planning agencies, the developers, to take the strip mall down and to excavate a foundation for a new structure, it is our job to make sure that that excavation is done in a manner that does not cause exposures to the local community. And as I've said, we have done this at dozens of sites statewide, many of them here in Brooklyn, a couple in Rockaway and Queens. The Queens West project was done that way. We have been doing this for a long time, and we've learned how to do it right. So, the takeaway is, we are not requiring it to be excavated. However, if a decision is made to excavate it, it's our job to make sure it's done properly. Okay? And I'll answer your questions during the question and answer period. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does someone hit the National Grid? Does somebody hit the National Grid? Okay, all right. You're not speaking, but you can be answered. You can be here for the question and answer, right? Okay, great. All right. So, thank you very much for that presentation. We look forward to hearing more about this excavation and this contamination on January 28th. And please, if you have any questions from now to the 28th, do your research, write it down, come prepared. Because I'm sure there's many unanswered questions when it comes to contamination. Okay, now I'd like to pull up on behalf of the developers, Dennis Keisha.
Thank you, Dr. Demolish. My name is Dennis Asher, and I am the main spokesperson representing the developer tonight. We have a whole team here of professionals, and we will run through a PowerPoint presentation where all of them will be introduced. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here. I'd like to thank Councilman Deutsch, although he disagrees with what we'd like to do, for hosting the event. My goal tonight is a very simple goal, and that is to present facts, not rumors, innuendo, or falsehoods, but facts. I will do this before we do the formal presentation on the project, because I think it's important for everybody to make informed decisions before they make up their minds. They need to understand what the facts are. They need to understand what exactly we are planning to do. I know that change is not easy and creates a lot of anxiety for people. However, I want to deal with again, as I said, the facts and not the emotions. And I would want everybody to at least listen to the facts.
Please, if you're going to be talking, please leave the room. It's not fair for others. So if anyone is going to be talking, please leave the room. This is very important.
Thank you. And I hope that people would be courteous enough to their neighbors to allow me to continue so that everyone can understand exactly what we're doing. First, a couple of basic facts. What DEC said about the environment is true. However, there is a large plume underneath the shopping center, which is traveling, which during Sandy, when the whole place was flooded, was traveling even more. And I am of the belief, and the developer is of the belief, and I believe the community is of the belief that for our children, for everyone else, we need to clean up this toxic mess, which is exactly what we plan on doing in conjunction with that grid. We're going to clean it up. We're going to end it. We're going to get rid of all of the pollution that is there. Everyone thinks that just letting it sit there is like a good idea. Well, as a member of the community, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's important to clean it up. Another fact, I heard a statement that the school was over capacity. The truth of the matter is that in this district, capacity is at 89%, not 100 some odd percent. District 21 is underutilized. District 21 is underutilized, and we are of the belief that it should be utilized completely. I heard some statements earlier from the controller about investment. How long have people been trying to invest money into the Coney Island community? For as long as I can remember, I grew up in the Sheepshead Nostrand housing projects. And when I was a little kid, we used to drive through Coney Island on the way home from Brighton Beach baths. And my mom used to say to me, isn't it terrible that they don't fix up the community, that Coney Island is still the way it is? And I have been hearing proposals for my entire life about investing in the community. Well, now we have a developer, we have an owner who wants to invest in the development. This will be approximately a $450 million investment. And based on all the economic models that exist out there, it will result in over $1 billion of new money into this community, new jobs into this community, revitalization of this community. Again, these are the facts. This
Please. Again, this is extremely urgent for everyone to hear, whether you agree or not, okay? We don't all agree on most of these issues, on most of these things, but let everyone hear what they have to say. We'll have the question and answers right following as soon as he's done.
Thank you. There's been a lot of concern about the maintenance of services, stores, while we are undergoing this development. Well, the developer, the owners, purchased a building nearby, a bathhouse, which was certainly, in my mind, not the best use of a building in the community. And we are revitalizing that building. It's 1 block away from the development. We are moving stores, moving services to that new building. We didn't have to do that. We are doing it because of our concerns to maintain services to to the neighborhood. We're in discussions with CVS about moving. We're in discussions with the post office about moving. We have plans for doctor's offices in the new building. We have many of the stores which exist in the shopping center now want to move to this new building. Whether they stay there permanently or temporarily move back is something that we will deal with down the line. But the bottom line is that those services that everyone needs, everyone wants, everyone thinks are so important, well, so do we, which is why we purchased a building which was, as I said, a bathhouse. And we are revitalizing that building, and we will be transferring people to that building. Again, that's a fact. Is it 614 Sheepshead Road? 614 Sheepshead Road. So those are some of the important facts. Another thing. Sandy, when the floods came, devastated the neighborhoods. The shopping center was underwater. Cars were floating away. Our building, our commercial building, our residential building is designed to be stormproof. It's being built above the floodplain levels. It has, I don't know how many people remember the water coming up through the storm sewers. Just coming up. Well, this development is going to have huge reserve tanks in case there's storms come in, where that's where the water goes. It doesn't go into the storm sewers. It doesn't overload the storm sewers. The water is stored until such time as it can be properly discharged. The residential building has emergency generators, which many of you people probably are now paying for and dealing with. I also mentioned about this investment into the community. The residential portion is rental housing. Most of the people here, I assume, live in various co-ops. Trump 3, Trump 4, Warbass. I know about all of those buildings because I used to work at DHCR, Division of Housing and Community Renewal. I know when all of those buildings were so-called bought out of the program and went private. I understand all of that. This investment of more than $1 billion in the community, this investment of a tremendous commercial buildings, commercial where there'll be such an upscale level of stores, plus the local stores, will only serve to increase all of your real estate values. Improving the community, putting all this money into it, serves to increase real estate values. Study after study after study shows this. This is not at all competition for the housing you live in, because this is rental housing. It's not ownership. It's not condos. It's not co-ops. It's not going to compete with any of where you live. So the inevitability of it is that real estate values are going to go up. Now these are the facts. What I would like to do now is I would like to run through a PowerPoint presentation. Okay, why don't you begin? The developer is, the ownership entity really is Cannabis. Now, Cannabis is a family-owned, Brooklyn-based people. They have lived here their entire lives. They intend to live here their entire lives. They have invested tremendous amounts of money into the community. They purchased in 2004 the entire Trump portfolio, which means they purchased Trump Village 1, Trump Village 2, Beach Haven, the Nautilus, Lawrence Towers, Lawrence Gardens. buildings throughout Bensonhurst, Staten Island, etc. And the Trumps, believe it or not, actually wanted to sell the portfolio, because I was involved in that sale, to a family-owned business, because they felt, a kinship with the community. So this is not some investor from out of town. This is not a REIT. These are local people who invest tremendously into the community, intend to stay here, don't ever intend to sell anything, and intend it to be a legacy to last forever. So, as we say up there, we have a long-term interest in the community. We have put together a team of professionals who are at the top of, at the top of the ladder in the developing community. We have I refer to as slice architects in S9. We have environmental consultant Apex companies. Our structural people, as you can see, D. Simone. Importantly, our mechanical is Cosentini, and as you see in transportation, we have retained Philip Habib and Associates,